Savanna LaFontaine-Greywind, a young woman whose life was extinguished for the most monstrous of reasons. This isn't just a crime, it's a chilling narrative about the thin veil between neighborly pleasantries and pure, unadulterated evil. It's a story that will make you question everything you thought you knew about the people living just a few feet away. Shocking facts that demand attention. Before we begin, consider these two devastating truths that lie at the heart of Savanna's story. Shocking fact 1. Savanna LaFontaine-Greywind was lured to her death not by a stranger in a dark alley, but by a neighbor, one floor above her own family's apartment. Fact 2. The dehumanizing act. Savanna was 8 months pregnant. Her baby, Hazley Joe, was just weeks away from birth. The ultimate horror is this. Savanna was targeted because she was carrying a child. Her baby was violently cut from her womb while Savanna was still alive, slipping in and out of consciousness. Her life was taken, and her child was stolen, not through an act of desperate impulse, but through a cold, calculated plan to acquire a baby. Chapter 1. The Promise of Hazley Joe. Our story begins in Fargo, North Dakota, in the summer of 2017. Savanna LaFontaine-Greywind was a beacon of joy, a vibrant 22-year-old certified nursing assistant, full of life and brimming with the excitement of impending motherhood. Ashton and Matheny were counting down the days until they met their little girl, Hazley Joe. Their apartment on the ground floor was already transformed, a nursery lovingly decorated, a bassinet waiting, tiny outfits folded with care. A knock echoed through their apartment. It was Brooke Cruz, their 38-year-old upstairs neighbor, accompanied by her live-in boyfriend, William Hone. Savanna and her family didn't know them well, just passing pleasantries, the casual nods of apartment living. But today, Brooke's smile was wider, her demeanor unusually friendly. She had a proposition for Savanna. A simple favor, she said. Chapter 2. The Vanishing Act. An hour turned into 2. The pizza arrived, growing cold on the counter, untouched by Savanna. Norberta's gentle concern began to morph into a cold, prickling fear. This was not like Savanna. Heavily pregnant, reliable, a creature of habit. She wouldn't just vanish, not without a word. Especially not with a hot pizza waiting and a baby due any day. Norberta and Savanna's father, Joe, walked upstairs, their hearts pounding with a growing dread. They knocked on Brooke Cruz's door. Brooke answered, composed, almost eerily calm. Her story was swift, smooth, and utterly unbelievable. Savanna had been there, she confirmed, but had left shortly after modeling the dress. She claimed Savanna had received a ride from an unknown man, carrying what looked like a black plastic bag. The narrative immediately clashed with everything the Greywinds knew about their daughter. Savanna didn't have her wallet. She wouldn't just leave her family, her home, her prepared dinner to get into a stranger's car. And a black plastic bag? What was in it? The inconsistencies screamed. Silent alarms blared in Norberta's mind. I hope you find her, Brooke said, her voice devoid of genuine warmth. A chillingly hollow sentiment that would haunt Norberta for years to come. The Greywind family immediately contacted the police, but the initial response was frustrating. A tragically common experience for families of missing Indigenous women. Savanna was an adult, they were told. She might have left voluntarily. Wait 24 hours was the weary, bureaucratic advice. But Norberta and Joe couldn't wait. They knew their daughter. Every minute that passed was a minute stolen from their pregnant daughter, from their unborn grandchild. The community rallied, family, friends, and members of the local Native American community launched a frantic, desperate search. Missing posters went up. Search parties scoured the banks of the Red River. They knocked on doors, retracing Savanna's last known steps, focusing on that one apartment directly above them. The police did conduct an initial search of Brooke Cruz's apartment, yet in what would later be a point of extreme scrutiny, they found nothing. No signs of a struggle, no evidence. It was clean, suspiciously clean. Neighbors would later report seeing Brooke Cruz incessantly sweeping and mopping in the days following Savanna's disappearance. a frantic effort to erase any trace of the horror she had perpetrated. For 3 agonizing days, the city of Fargo searched, prayed, and held its breath for Savanna LaFontaine-Greywind. And all the while, the answers, the chilling truth, and the future of her unborn child were hidden in plain sight, just 1 floor up. Chapter 3: The Cries from Upstairs. On August 22nd, 3 days into Savanna's disappearance, the despair in the LaFontaine-Greywind apartment was almost suffocating. The entire family was living a nightmare. But then, a new, unsettling sound began to filter through the ceiling. Faint at first, then unmistakable. The sound of a baby crying. It was coming from Brooke Crew's apartment. Norberta's heart lurched. This was impossible. Brooke Crews wasn't pregnant. She hadn't been. The LaFontaine-Greywinds would have known. The cries were persistent, clear, undeniable. The family immediately alerted the police again. This time, the officers were more receptive. The baby's cries were impossible to ignore, especially given the ongoing missing persons investigation directly below. When officers entered Brooke Crew's apartment, what they discovered was horrifying, yet tragically predictable. A newborn baby, just days old, wrapped in blankets. And there too were Brooke Crews and William Hone. The police immediately took the baby into protective custody and arrested Crews and Hone. But the baby was not Savanna's, they initially claimed. Crews insisted the baby was hers, a shocking fabrication. But the medical team, examining the infant, quickly determined the baby was only a few days old, healthy, and of Native American descent. The pieces of the puzzle, grotesque and sickening, began to fall into place. DNA tests were ordered. The family waited, barely daring to hope, yet knowing deep in their souls who this child must be. The nightmare was finally unfolding. The baby was Hazley Joe, Savanna's baby, miraculously, impossibly alive. Chapter 4: The Ghastly Confession. With Hazley Joe now safe, the full, horrifying truth began to emerge from the mouths of Brooke Crews and William Hone. Their confessions, delivered separately, painted a picture of calculated evil that chills to the bone. Brooke Crews, desperate for a baby after a miscarriage, had concocted a depraved plan. Savanna LaFontaine-Greywind bled to death. After the child was stolen, her body was wrapped in plastic and hidden in a closet for a day, while Crews and Hone celebrated the arrival of their newborn. William Hone then took Savanna's body, put her in a duffel bag, and dumped her into the Red River. He even tried to weight her down with rocks, hoping she would never be found. On August 27th, a week after she vanished, Savanna's body was discovered by kayakers in the Red River, north of Fargo. She was found wrapped in plastic, bound with tape, weighted down. Her life, extinguished in the most horrific way imaginable, was now irrefutably confirmed. The monster in the apartment above had not only taken Savanna's life, but had also stolen her dignity and death. Chapter 5: Justice and Lingering Shadows. The trials that followed were harrowing. Brooke Crews pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit murder, conspiracy to commit kidnapping, and giving false information to law enforcement. She was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Her chilling confession revealed the depths of her depravity. William Hone, her accomplice, initially claimed he only helped dispose of the body, but his testimony revealed his complicity in the initial attack and the cover-up. He later pleaded guilty to kidnapping and giving false information, receiving a sentence of 85 years in prison. He admitted to using a strap or rope to try and silence Savanna during the attack. Hazley Joe, Savanna's baby, was reunited with her loving father Ashton Matheny and the LaFontaine-Greywind family. She is thriving, a beautiful, living legacy of Savanna's love and sacrifice. But even with the perpetrators behind bars, the shadows of this case linger. The apartment building where Savanna was murdered and Hazley Joe was stolen has since been purchased and transformed into a transitional housing facility for individuals experiencing homelessness. The story of Savanna LaFontaine-Greywind remains a brutal reminder of the missing and murdered Indigenous women MMIW crisis, exposing the vulnerabilities Indigenous women face, the systemic failures that often delay urgent responses, and the horrific violence that can lurk in the most unexpected places. It highlights the disturbing reality that for some, the desire for a child can twist into an unimaginable evil, leading to the ultimate theft of life itself. The lingering question. Savanna walked one flight of stairs, expecting to return in minutes. She went to help a neighbor. She was carrying a life, full of hope, and she was brutally taken. Her case forces us to confront not just the monsters among us, but the wider societal issues that can allow such evil to unfold. It makes us ask, how could such a calculated, barbaric act happen within the ordinary walls of an apartment building? How do we protect the innocent from such premeditated cruelty? What are your thoughts on this truly terrifying case? What does it say about the safety we assume in our everyday lives? Please share your reflections in the comments section below. We want to hear what you think about the story of Savanna LaFontaine-Greywind.